In the quiet spaces of life where noise fades and awareness begins, there exists a simple truth: protection does not come from force but from balance. A home is not merely walls and a roof, it is a field of energy shaped by thoughts, actions, and intentions. When this field is disturbed, unease enters silently, like dust carried by the wind. There is an ancient way, simple yet profound, the way of the salt shield. Salt, born of the earth and purified by time, carries a natural harmony. It neither clings nor resists, it absorbs, it balances, it restores. In its stillness it teaches a quiet lesson: what is heavy can be transformed, what is negative can be softened. To guard your home, begin not with fear but with awareness. Walk slowly through your space. Notice where the air feels heavy, where your breath shortens, where your mind becomes restless. These are the places where balance has been disturbed. Take a small bowl of salt and place it in these corners, not as a weapon but as a silent guardian. Do this with intention, not haste. As you set it down, let your mind become still. Do not wish harm away, simply allow balance to return. Protection born from fear creates more fear. Protection born from peace creates harmony. Each grain of salt becomes a witness, quietly absorbing what does not belong. Over time, you may feel a subtle shift. The air becomes lighter, your thoughts clearer, your rest deeper. This is not magic. This is alignment. But remember, no object can protect a home if the mind within it is unsettled. Anger, jealousy, and constant worry invite more disturbance than any external force. Therefore, the true shield is not the salt alone, it is the state of your heart. Clean your space as you would clean your thoughts. Open windows, allow light to enter, and let fresh air move freely. Speak gently within your home, for words leave echoes long after they are spoken. Sit in silence even for a few moments each day and let your presence become calm and steady. When the salt has absorbed enough, you will feel it. It becomes heavy, dull, no longer vibrant. Do not keep it. Return it to the earth or dissolve it in water, releasing what it has carried. Then replace it with the same quiet intention. In this way, your home becomes more than a shelter. It becomes a place of balance, a refuge where peace is not chased but naturally exists. And as you protect your home, you will begin to see that the outer world reflects the inner one. When your space is calm, your mind follows. When your mind is clear, your life unfolds with less resistance. The salt shield is not just around your home, it is within you. Protection comes from inner balance. True protection of a home is not about fear or force, but about maintaining harmony in thoughts, emotions, and environment. Protection is often misunderstood as something that must be built with strength, control, or resistance against the outside world. Yet, true protection begins in a quieter place within the subtle balance of the mind and heart. When a person seeks to guard their home, they may look outward, fearing unseen forces or negative influences. But the deeper teaching reveals that disturbance does not enter a space unless there is already imbalance within it. A home reflects the inner condition of those who live inside it. If the mind is restless, the space begins to feel heavy. If the heart carries tension, even silence becomes uncomfortable. Balance then becomes the first and most essential form of protection. It is not something that can be forced into existence, but something that is cultivated through awareness. When one becomes mindful of their thoughts, their reactions, and the energy they bring into their home, a shift begins to take place. Instead of reacting with fear or frustration, there is a gentle observation. Instead of trying to control every external influence, there is a quiet strengthening of inner stillness. In such a state, protection arises naturally. Just as a calm lake remains undisturbed by small winds, a balanced mind does not easily absorb negativity. This inner steadiness creates an invisible boundary, one that does not push away the world, but simply does not allow harmful energies to take root. The home, being an extension of this inner state, begins to mirror that same calmness. The air feels lighter, the environment more welcoming, and even moments of silence become nourishing rather than uneasy. It is important to understand that balance does not mean the absence of challenges. Life will still bring noise, difficulties, and unexpected disruptions. However, when balance is present, these things pass through without leaving a lasting weight. Protection in this sense is not about stopping every disturbance, but about ensuring that nothing disturbs you deeply or permanently. By nurturing patience, speaking gently, and allowing moments of stillness each day, one strengthens this inner balance. Over time, it becomes a quiet shield, one that requires no effort to maintain, yet remains constantly present. And from this inner harmony, the home itself becomes protected, not by force, but by the simple, powerful presence of peace. Salt is a symbol of purification. Salt acts as a natural absorber of negative energy, helping to restore balance and calmness in the living space. Salt has long been seen as an ordinary substance, something used daily without much thought. Yet within its simplicity lies a quiet depth. Formed through time, drawn from the earth and sea, it carries a natural ability to absorb, to stabilize, and to return things to balance. It does not struggle or resist, it simply fulfills its nature. In this way, it becomes more than a physical element, it becomes a symbol of purification and gentle transformation. When placed within a home with mindful intention, salt serves as a silent companion rather than a forceful protector. It does not chase away negativity with aggression, but instead receives what is heavy and dissolves its intensity. This process is subtle, almost unnoticeable at first, like the gradual clearing of clouds from the sky. Over time, the space begins to feel different. The weight that once lingered in certain corners becomes lighter, and the atmosphere begins to breathe more freely. However, the true power of salt is not in the substance alone, but in the awareness with which it is used. Without intention, it remains only a mineral. With presence and calm focus, it becomes part of a deeper practice. As one places it in the home, there is an opportunity to pause, to become still, and to connect with the space in a more conscious way. This moment of awareness itself begins the process of cleansing, even before the salt has had time to act. Salt also teaches an important lesson about release. As it absorbs what is unwanted, it reminds us that holding on to negativity only creates more heaviness. Just as the salt must eventually be replaced or returned to the earth, so too must thoughts and emotions be allowed to pass. Clinging to anger, fear, or resentment only disturbs the inner environment, no matter how many external methods are used. In this quiet practice, there is no need for complexity. A small bowl, a calm mind, and a clear intention are enough. The simplicity itself becomes part of the strength. It shows that protection and purification do not always require grand actions, but can arise from small, mindful gestures repeated with sincerity. Through this understanding, salt becomes more than a tool. It becomes a reflection of balance, patience, and the natural ability to transform what is heavy into something light and manageable. Power of intention and awareness. Placing salt is not just a physical act. It becomes powerful when done with mindfulness, calm intention, and awareness of energy. Intention and awareness are the quiet forces that shape every action, yet they are often overlooked because they cannot be seen or touched. Many believe that protection comes from what they do physically, placing objects, following rituals, or arranging their surroundings in a certain way. But without a clear and steady mind behind these actions, they remain empty gestures. It is the quality of attention that gives meaning to even the simplest act. When awareness is present, every movement becomes deliberate. Walking through your home is no longer routine, it becomes a way of listening. You begin to notice subtle changes, the feeling of a room, the way certain spaces affect your breath, the areas that feel calm and those that feel unsettled. This awareness is not judgmental, it does not label things as good or bad. It simply observes, creating a deeper connection between you and your environment. Intention arises from this awareness. It is not a forced desire to control outcomes, but a gentle direction of the mind. When placing something as simple as salt in your home, the act becomes meaningful only when guided by a calm and focused intention. If the mind is filled with fear or urgency, that same energy is carried into the action. But if the mind is quiet and balanced, the action reflects that same stillness. This is why intention must be cultivated carefully. It is not about wishing for something to disappear or trying to push away what feels uncomfortable. Instead, it is about inviting balance, allowing the space to return to its natural state. A calm intention does not struggle, it trusts the process. It understands that harmony cannot be forced, it can only be allowed. Awareness also brings responsibility. As you become more conscious of your thoughts and emotions, you begin to see how they influence the space around you. A single moment of anger can leave a lasting heaviness, while a moment of genuine calm can soften an entire room. This realization shifts the focus inward. Instead of trying to fix everything outside, you begin to refine what is within. Over time, this practice deepens, intention becomes clearer, awareness becomes sharper, and actions become more aligned with inner peace. The home responds naturally, reflecting this inner clarity. What once felt chaotic begins to settle, not because something external has changed dramatically, but because the energy behind each action has become steady and mindful. In this way, intention and awareness transform ordinary acts into meaningful practices, turning even the smallest gesture into a source of balance and quiet strength. A peaceful mind is the real shield. External tools like salt are secondary. The real protection comes from a calm, positive, and balanced state of mind. Many people search for protection in objects, rituals, or external methods, believing that something outside them holds the power to keep their space safe. Yet the deeper understanding reveals a different truth. No object, no matter how sacred or carefully placed, can create lasting protection if the mind within the home remains unsettled. The true shield is not something you place in a corner, it is something you cultivate within yourself. A restless mind carries its own disturbance. When thoughts are filled with worry, anger, or constant tension, that energy quietly spreads into the surrounding space. Words spoken in frustration linger longer than expected, and emotions left unresolved settle into the atmosphere like unseen weight. Over time, the home begins to reflect this inner state. It may appear clean and organized, yet still feel heavy, uncomfortable, or lacking peace. In contrast, a calm and balanced mind creates a natural sense of safety. When you move through your home with patience, speak with gentleness, and respond to situations with awareness rather than reaction, the entire environment begins to shift. There is less tension in the air, fewer emotional disturbances, and a subtle feeling of ease that cannot be manufactured through external means. This is why inner stillness is considered the real form of protection. It does not depend on conditions, and it does not weaken when challenges arise. Instead, it remains steady, like a quiet flame that is not easily shaken by the wind. When this steadiness is present, negativity may pass through your space, but it does not settle or grow. It finds no place to attach itself. Cultivating such a state is not about suppressing emotions or pretending that difficulties do not exist. It is about observing them without becoming consumed by them. When anger arises, it is seen and allowed to pass. When worry appears, it is acknowledged but not given control. This gentle awareness prevents emotions from taking root and shaping the environment around you. As this practice deepens, you begin to rely less on external forms of protection and more on your own presence. Objects like salt may still be used, but they are no longer seen as the source of safety. Instead, they become reminders of the balance you are already creating within. In this way, the home becomes truly protected, not because nothing negative ever approaches, but because there is a steady, peaceful mind at its center. And where there is genuine calm, disturbance cannot remain for long. Regular cleansing and renewal energy must be refreshed regularly. Clean your space. Replace the salt and maintain a peaceful environment to sustain harmony. A home, like the mind, is not something that can be cleansed once and left unchanged. It is a living space, constantly shaped by daily actions, emotions, and the subtle energy of those who move within it. Because of this, maintaining harmony requires regular care, not as a burden but as a quiet, ongoing practice. Just as dust gathers even in a closed room, unseen heaviness can slowly build if it is not gently cleared away. Renewal begins with simple acts. Opening a window to let fresh air move through the space can shift the feeling of an entire room. Light entering through that same window carries a sense of clarity, revealing what was once hidden in dimness. These small gestures may seem ordinary, yet they remind us that change does not always require effort, it often requires allowance. When air flows freely and light is welcomed, stagnation naturally begins to dissolve. Physical cleaning also holds deeper meaning. Sweeping the floor, arranging objects, or clearing clutter is not just about appearance, it is a way of restoring order and balance. Each item returned to its place reflects a mind becoming more organized and at ease. When the environment is cared for with attention, it responds by offering a sense of calm in return. In the same way, the use of salt is not a one-time act but part of this cycle of renewal. As it absorbs what is heavy, it eventually becomes burdened itself. Keeping it for too long allows that heaviness to remain within the space. Replacing it, therefore, is not just a practical step but a symbolic release. It is a reminder that what has been collected, whether energy, thoughts, or emotions, must be let go rather than held onto. This practice extends beyond objects into daily living. Speaking kindly, reducing unnecessary noise, and allowing moments of silence throughout the day all contribute to maintaining a balanced atmosphere. Even a few minutes of stillness can reset the tone of a home, creating a pause where tension once existed. Over time, these repeated actions form a rhythm. The home begins to feel consistently lighter, not because it is free from all disturbance, but because it is regularly renewed. This consistency creates a quiet stability, where peace is no longer something you search for, but something that naturally remains. Through regular cleansing and mindful renewal, both the space and the mind stay aligned, allowing harmony to continue flowing without interruption.